The air inside your sleeper cabin carries the faint, familiar scent of dried clothes. It is the subtle breath of the boiler churning. It is the scent of nighttime voyages, and its arrival to your cabin signifies that it is time, again, to dreamwalk. You can feel it, a slow stirring gathering deep inside your chest. Pale light from the corridor spills in through the narrow crack beneath the door, a satin hush painting the room in a static glow. You reach over and dial the small brass reading lamp on your bedside table to a slow, steady ember. The dim light illuminates the room, which murmurs at you in shades of daisy and goldenrod. Your body synchronizes to the rhythm of muted wheels clacking against dark iron rails. It is the sound of dreamscapes passing you by in the dark of night. You've lost track of how many sleeps you have traveled now, but it doesn't matter anymore. Shrouded in your familiar dream clothes, you scoot towards the edge of the bed and guide your feet to the floor. The wood is smooth and cool beneath your toes. You stretch yourself upright, a trickle of pops running down your back. You stand, gliding across the room, then unlatch the door. It opens with a click, swings inward, and you slip into the corridor. The hallway glows with a warm amber hush, wall lamps casting long shadows that sway gently with the motion of the train. The dark green carpet underfoot is piled high and quiets your footsteps into a muffle as you shuffle forward. You pass compartment after compartment, each just like your own. Behind each door are other travelers, dreaming their way through the same boundless night. You reach the entrance to the next car. The door is frosted glass, glowing, foamy and white from within. Golden letters curl in graceful script across its surface. The Moonrise Diner. A sleeping moon is etched into the center of the glass, nestled between clouds of steam rising from two tiny teacups. You pause for a moment, resting your fingertips on the door handle. The brass is cool, and you can hear the quiet hum of conversation from within, along with the mindful tink of teacups and cutlery. You take a slow breath, slide the car door, and step through. Warm air billows over you like a blanket just pulled from the dryer. You step inside the Moonrise Diner. It's a glowing lounge in gold and honey tones, lit by shaded lamps and tiny crystal chandeliers that sway ever so gently with the train's muted motion. The carpet here is deep red with gold filigree, and your slippers shuffle against it like book pages fluttering. Kitschy old paintings in gilded frames line the walls, still lives. A basket of baby blue eggs, warm loaves of bread, and teapots steaming beside a sleeping cat. Between the paintings hang long velvet curtains in a mauve shade of dusk, drawn back with golden cords. The air smells like warm pastries, and you can pick out notes of sweet jam and melting butter wafting from the kitchen doors. A few other passengers are currently dining here, scattered across the room. Some sit alone with steaming mugs and soft smiles. Some sit in pairs, their voices hushed to a gentle simmer. All of them are wrapped in sleep clothes, shawls, robes, silk pajamas, long nightcaps, wool slippers. You take in the sounds, the clink of porcelain, the occasional rustle of a newspaper, and the hum of the train beneath it all. Ahead of you, a curved staircase rises like a song towards the upper level. The railings are brass, and the carpeted steps sponge your feet as you ascend. At the top of the stairs is a wall of glass stretching high to the vaulted window ceiling. Outside the windows, there's a blur of snow-capped mountains against a Persian sky. The mountains whisk their way along the train, a froth of silver moonlight glowing at their peaks. You choose a booth by the window and settle yourself in. It's upholstered in burnt orange corduroy. You run your fingertips along the tiny ridges and admire the marbled surface of the dining table, flickering like film from the subtle lantern light. A lone shuffle of slippers approaches the booth. It's a familiar face, the waitress, arriving, coils of red hair bouncing with her steps. Her apron is crisp, and her hands are gentle as she places a menu on your table, although you barely need it. She leans in and asks, a voice just above a whisper, "What'll it be?" And you reply, "A pot of chamomile tea, please, toast and jam." Her robe is tied loosely at the waist, and you notice she's wearing a new pair of animal slippers, 2 sleepy-looking boxes. She smiles. She knew you'd say that. "Of course," she says, and disappears again into the golden hush of the night kitchen. You turn back to the window, resting your elbows on the table, chin cradled in your palm. The train moves steadily through a broad valley now, a wide sheet of moon-bleached paper like a giant bed. In the distance, nestled at the base of the mountains, is a small town, a splattering of amber lights glowing against the dark. Somewhere out there is your next stop. You imagine how the Nocturne must look to them, a dark ship sailing through the ocean of the mountainside. Or perhaps it appears to them as nothing more than it is, a passing dream in the sleeping cosmic mind. And then she returns, and she sets down a golden tray with practiced care. A teapot shaped like a hen, still steaming, a simple white teacup beside it, glazed in a speckled gray like a bone, a delicate plate holding a slice of golden toast, and a tiny glass dish of purple jam beside it. You murmur your thanks with a gentle nod, and she smiles before moving on, her slippers brushing the carpet as she goes. You pour yourself a cup of tea from the pot, listening to the splash as it fills. The scent of chamomile rises with the steam, dampening your nose as you take your first sip. Outside, the valley drifts past like a cloud. You spread a bit of buttered jam on the toast, the silver blade of the knife becoming with orange light. You take a bite, chewing in rhythm with the train. The toast is warm and crispy. The jam and butter is sweet and smooth. You dab a cotton napkin against your lips. Midnight breakfast is one of your most cherished rituals aboard the Nocturne. It prepares you for a night of dream walking. The last bite of jam lingers translucent on your tongue. You cradle your teacup in both hands, letting the warmth soak into your palms as you take one final sip. The chamomile is sweeter now, the honey growing stronger at the bottom of the cup. With a silent yawn, you rise from the booth. The cushions sigh, holding on to your warmth as you slip away from them. You reach into the pocket of your robe and leave a small number of coins on the table. Metal squares and triangles. They jingle in your hands as you set them down. The gold embroidery of the carpet greets you once more as you descend the staircase. Around you, the other dreamers are tucked away safely in their own midnight reveries. The door to the diner opens with a hush, and you sleep back into the sleeper car. You walk past each compartment door and wonder what dreams are held within those spaces. Hidden gardens, underwater libraries, cities of prismatic light. You reach your own door and step inside. Your room is dim. You close the door behind you with a solid click and exhale. It always feels good to be back. Somewhere below, there's a shift in the rhythm of the train. The wheels begin to slow, and a low sigh escapes through the floorboards as the train eases into its next stop. You swaddle yourself in the heavy wool robe hanging in your small compartment closet. It's dark blue like a bruise and patterned thick with innumerable sheep. The Nocturne has brought you new dreams tonight, and it's time to step out into them. You make your way to the disembarkment car and join the small gathering of passengers. They speak in low voices, soft laughter occasionally bubbling between friends. They exchange sleep-drunk jokes and play catch with each other's yawns while the conductor readies the platform for their departure. The conductor is a small, stout man with a thick salt and pepper beard that bristles from beneath the edge of his mink cap. His eyes are nearly hidden behind the round spectacles fogged at the edges from the cold. He wears a black coat lined with brass buttons and a knit scarf coiled up neatly to his nose. He nods to each person as they step off, murmuring brief farewells and ticking names off a list held in his mittened hand. When your turn comes, you pause just long enough to meet his eyes. He doesn't speak, just nods once, the pout of his lips twitching with the start of a smile. When you step down onto the snowy platform, the air is sharp and clean and crisp with winter. Soft feathers of snow drift all around you. The cold brushes against your face and hands, but the warmth of your robe shelters you like a hearth. You draw the robe tighter around your shoulders, fingers curling into the collar. Ahead, through a veil of snow, you see a small town waiting for you, a glowing pearl in the endless night. You step away from the platform, following the crowd of passengers as they drift into the frozen dream, their slippers shuffling against the smooth, wet cobblestone street. The air smells of wood smoke and wet snow and contains a buzzing energy. The lantern-lit street twines downward until it opens like a yawn into a wide central square. The crowd of dreamers enters the heart of the town as a single cloud of frozen breath. The glow of shop windows bounds over the cobbles to meet you. Snowflakes fall steadily now, swirling under the eaves and gathering in the corners of rooftops where the silhouettes of crooked chimneys crowd together like friends leaning close. The buildings are all a little uneven, hand-built and well-loved, their stones weathered smooth, wooden beams dark with time. You glide into the square like an ice skater, weaving by the other voyagers who fan out around you, drawn like moths towards their own promising lights. Some turn towards the bakery, with its windows fogged with warmth, displaying an assortment of interwoven loaves of bread. Others drift towards the library, where the silhouette of tall shelves and ladders can be glimpsed through the towering windows. Others still shuffle towards the small apothecary, nestled in the shadows between two buildings, herbs hanging in neat bundles within the shop's windows. You tuck your hands deep into the warmth of your pockets and fly towards the scent of something warm and cinnamon sweet on the breeze. At the far end of the square, tucked beneath an orange canvas awning, stands a little food cart, glowing like a lost ember in the snow. The lanterns hanging from its corners are painted with faded flowers, casting a kaleidoscope of slow dancing color on the snow. A steady plume of steam rises from behind the counter, twirling around the vendor like a lazy dragon breath. She greets you with a nod. The vendor is tall and owl-eyed, with a frayed knitted hat pulled low over her ears and long braids looped beneath her coat. Her hands move with the easy rhythm of someone who's been baking for many moons. She lifts the heavy lid of a fryer and then selects just the right bun, dusting it with cinnamon sugar and finally wrapping it in a square of waxed linen. She hands it to you carefully, passing you the precious object, and you, in turn, Slip her a coin from your pocket, a brass rectangle. The cinnamon-scented dough is soft as a pillow and warm, its surface richly bronzed. You raise it close and the heat billows up against your face, warming your cheeks and nose. You pause there, eyes closed, letting the sweet steam engulf you. Then you take a bite. It is rich with the tingle of cinnamon bark and filled with smooth roasted squash, pillow soft and spiced with a sprinkle of cumin and coriander. The flavors settle into you. You chew softly, savoring. The snow drifts around you, and for now, you are truly in a timeless world. The colored lanterns flicker and sway. Somewhere nearby, someone sings to themselves, someone laughs, and someone else sips tea. You turn from the steamed bun stand, cradling the warm pastry in your hands. The library waits just across the square, its tall arched windows glistening like melting wax. You begin to drift in that direction, already imagining the quiet crackle of its earth and the tall shelves full of strange, half-forgotten pages. But then, something catches your eye. A red flicker at the edge of your vision. You stop, stock still in the town square. There, just beyond the apothecary, in a narrow alleyway between two stone buildings stands a small fox. Its fur is bright against the snow, russet and gold. It doesn't move. It just watches you, ears forward, tail low, but flicking back and forth playfully. He's wearing a hat, a red fez with a golden bell. Neither of you moves, locked in each other's gaze. The other dreamers walked past, but do not notice him, distracted as they are by the quaint spectacle of the sleepy town. Then the fox turns and slips down the alley, its trail tailing behind like a ribbon of flame. You walk forward, slippers crunching on the snowy stone. At the far end of the alley, the fox pauses again, looking back over its shoulder, waiting. You believe he is asking you to follow him. So you do. The alley is narrow and uneven, its stones damp with snow melt and days-old footprints. You follow the fox as it weaves ahead of you. Its tail curves like a question mark, waving in the air each time it glances back. The fox leads you past the rear entrance to the bakery. The door is propped open, light floods out into the wide alley stones. Just inside, strong-armed workers in flour-dusted aprons are moving crates with practiced rhythm. Sacks of grain, wooden boxes of preserves, jars of spices and dried fruit, all stacked in neat rows, waiting to be brought in from the cold. Outside, a bag of castor sugar is split open at the corner, its contents lifting into the air with the wind. mingling with the snow into a fine haze of sweet dust and ice that you can see and taste on the breeze. You move past the scene and follow the fox until you reach the edge of town. And then you're at the edge of the trees where the forest begins. The fox slips between the tall trunks, pine and aspen, their high branches laced with snow, starlight caught between them like silver fruit. The fox stops one last time, turning back to look at you. Its eyes gleam like firelight. Then it vanishes into the forest. The snow deepens as you step beneath the trees, crunching beneath your weight. Branches stretch all around you like open arms. The fox moves ahead with purpose, its paws silent on the snow. It follows a narrow, winding trail, barely visible except where the underbrush parts and you can see the snow laying flat. The trail becomes marked by tiny golden bells hanging from the low tree branches, each no bigger than a thumbprint. They sway gently, catching the moonlight and twinkling in the breeze, their song as light as mountain air. At first, they appear one by one, spaced far apart. But the farther you walk, the more you see. 2 bells becomes 5, becomes a dozen. Their voices grow more present, a crystalline chorus guiding you forward. The snow begins to fall thicker now, the flakes flat and slow, blurring the edges of the world into a blue silence. You pull your robe tighter and keep your head low as the snow catches in your eyelashes like white lace. Then the trees begin to thin and you step into a wide clearing wreathed in snow. Your breath catches in your chest when you see the building at the far edge of the forest. It is a wide and high building of dark timber and river stone. Its eaves and beams are wrapped in strings of golden bells, hundreds of them, maybe thousands, each one catching golden light like a shot glass catching bourbon. The air is filled with the shimmering sound of these innumerable tiny bells. The building is vast, 12 stories high with sweeping eaves and roofs layered like blankets. Intricate timber pillars jut between each level, carved into the shape of flowing water or lined with fish scales. Dark copper piping coils along the outer walls like vines, releasing bursts of steam into the sunken night. Arched windows glimmer with fogged glass, and wide balconies overlook the snowy forest like the balconies of an opera house. The fox jumps up on the stone steps to the grand entrance doors which stand open. The doors are deep red and carved like mist. The road leading to this entrance is paved in glittering stone and lined with lanterns, and on the road, the animals are arriving. Two armadillos in quilted robes are the first to arrive, rolling down the road and then uncurling politely at the foot of the stairs to straighten their collars and shake the snow from their ears. Then a pair of long-legged deer wrapped in silk shawls gracefully ascend to the entrance. A towering bear, walking upright, wearing a pale green robe, lumbers down the paved road. Strapped to its back is a broad wicker basket lined with rich aubergine velvet and soft white linens. Nestled inside the basket are half a dozen songbirds, each wearing a paisley ribbon, the matriarch among them adorned with a delicate gold crown. They chirp and flutter as the bear speaks gently to them, adjusting the tilt of the royal procession with a practiced paw. High above, white doves and midnight black crows glide through the upper mist, bypassing the grand entrance entirely. They alight on balconies, perches, and open-air landings. Some birds carry scrolls tucked into their belts, others tiny parasols folded neatly in their claws. A small sleigh made of bundled reeds and birch splints guides past, pulled by a group of stoats. Atop the sleigh rests a sleeping lynx prince, his paws twitching as he dreams. His attendants walk in perfect silence, leaving not even a whisper behind them. The air here is full of movement and music, the soft hiss of steam, the clear chime of bells, and the crunch of snow over 100 paws and hooves and padded feet. Above it all, the building rises. The bathhouse accepts all creatures, nobility and night wanderers, snow-lost and steam-bound, all enter with the same warm quietude. This is where they come to shed the weight of their waking lives. Here, there is only warmth and rest and stillness. And you, now, are one of them. You follow through the arch, under the bells, into the steam. Through the threshold, the cold air is lifted away like a coat taken from your shoulders. In this place comes wet warmth, air thick with the scent of pine, damp wood, warm linen, and a trace of sweet citrus. Moisture clings gently to your cheeks, fogging your lashes, dampening the sleeves of your wool robe. The sound of steam surrounds you like the hush of a tea kettle just before the whistle. The foyer is broad and golden gleaming, a grand atrium rising several full stories, with balconies wrapping around each level like the tiers of a cake. From these balconies, you see the doors leading into unknown chambers. Foxes hustle between the connective bridges, some with towels stacked in their arms, others with clipboards, others sweeping steam from the air, tidying the mist. The Fox attendants work the reception decks, refill the basins, and polish the condensation from glass lanterns. In the center of it all stands the grand staircase, wide and spiraling, made from dark oak and polished brass to match the pipes. Animals pad up and down the steps in clusters. You see a stately moose moving up one slow step at a time, flanked on his antlers by a dozen regal chipmunks who seem to be acting as his advisors. To your side, low wooden benches curve along the wall. Animals of all types sit here quietly, shedding their snowy outer layers. A badger unwinds a knitted wrap from her shoulders, folding it neatly into a cubby. A pair of rabbits, whispering softly, help each other out of heavy capes. A fox attendant approaches you quietly. His fur is sleek, rust red and cream, and his robe is patterned with tiny snowflakes. He wears a soft cap with a golden bell. He gives a small bow and leads you down a quiet hallway, steam soft and candle-lit, to a small changing room tucked behind a woven curtain. The floors are made of dark stone, polished soft and heated from the bathhouse boiler deep below. Moonlight filters in from the slated windows, refracted through steam, giving the whole world a honey-colored rainbow glow. A dazzling array of linen bathrobes is hanging on the wall, arranged by size, material, and pattern. Your old clothes come off one layer at a time. The heavy weight of the journey slips from your body. You fold each piece carefully and place them in a basket woven from green reeds. You pick a bathrobe from the selection and hold it in your hands. It is thick cotton, embroidered at the cuffs with curling clouds that smell of lavender. You put the robe on, the fabric brushes your skin like a breath. It drapes over your shoulders, cuffs hanging over the backs of your hands. You tie it shut with a braided shaft. A fresh pair of slippers waits nearby on a polished wooden rack. You take off your snow-damp slippers and slide your feet into a new pair. The soles are springy like fresh moss. A fox attendant approaches and greets you with upright posture. He leads you back towards the gleaming archway of the caldarium entrance, bowing and gesturing you forward. You step through the archway and into a world of mist and waterlight. The caldarium stretches out around you in a graceful sprawl, a labyrinth of soaking pools, rising platforms, bridges, and terraces, each wrapped in steam and lamplight. Directly ahead is a large communal pool, oval and rimmed with smooth white stones. Its surface is a roiling bubble of jets, scattering the reflected light of lanterns like a raw ruby. A pair of otters lounge side by side, steamed towels draped on their foreheads. They hold hands and murmur to each other in sleepy tones. Beyond that, a sunken spring bubbles gently in a dim corner wreathed in palm fronds. Its edges are carved with flowers. Inside, a trio of turtles bob in lazy circles, while a fox attendant quietly adds dried orange peel to the water from a small wooden bowl. A little to the right, tucked in a quiet corner of the second tier, is a cloister of frogs, settled into individual tiny ceramic soaking bowls, eyes half-lidded. They sit enveloped within their orchestra of croaks, sipping tea from small teacups held in their webbed fingers. The pipes run everywhere, twisting copper coils and smooth brass valves emerging from walls and vanishing behind carved beams, humming with quiet purpose. Water pours from the upper levels. Birds take turns slowly flying through the waterfalls. The falls ferry warmth to the pools below. And through it all, the fox attendants move like clockwork, breezing around the massive machine, topping up tea trays, folding towels, adjusting water temperatures with the elegant twist of a lever or valve. The air hums with contentment. Nearby, a group of raccoons are crowding into a round wooden tub, laughing in lazy bursts, splashing one another with wide wooden spoons. You turn towards a quieter corner of the bathhouse, drawn by the sound of a small waterfall and the smell of lemon balm, when something gently bumps into you from the side. It's the fox who led you here. You recognize him by his fez. Your friend is carrying far too many things at once. Bundles of eucalyptus spill from his arms. One of his paws catches a narrow ladle. The other balances a wooden bucket full of fragrant, steaming water. He stumbles. The bucket wobbles and tips over, sloshing across the warm tile floor, swirling around your slippers. He stumbles. The bucket wobbles and tips over, sloshing across the warm tile floor, swirling around your slippers and soaking the hem of the fox's robe. A sharp breath escapes him, flustered. His herbs wobble dangerously as he sets his jaw and attempts to reach for the bucket. You bend down and retrieve it before he can try again. The wood is warm to the touch and still fragrant with the steam and citrus and spiced bark. You hold it out for him to take, but he shakes his head and steps back, the bell on his fez twinkling with the motion. Then, without a word, he nudges the bucket back into your hands and gives your robe a tiny, insistent tug. He wants you to carry it for him. The fox weaves through the maze of pools and mist, elegant again now that his arms are not so full. He leads you to a narrow waterfall pouring from a spout built high into the stone arch and emptying into a massive wooden tub. In the tub is a lounging bear, splayed out so the waterfall pours over the mound of his stomach. His eyes are closed in bliss. Resting on a platform above him is a wicker basket, nestling a royal purple pillow. On top of the pillow, tiny songbirds luxuriate in the thick steam, chirping softly. You dip your bucket into the water. The bear opens one eye to see what has stopped his waterfall, and seeing you, lets out a low, unimpressed grunt. You fill the bucket, then turn to leave the bear in peace. You trail behind the fox once more, balancing the bucket, stepping low and slow. The moisture seeps through the wood into your fingers. At the far end of the room, near a fern-filled alcove, the fox stops beside a tiny stone basin, round and shallow, no bigger than a bird bath. Inside the basin, a family of hedgehogs is waiting quietly. 2 adult hedgehogs sit upright, paws folded politely over soft bellies. Cozied between them are 3 babies, hairless and round and barely the size of a thimble. They blink up at you with curious, beady eyes, their tiny noses twitching. The fox gestures once, and you pour the bubbling bucket into the basin. The water steams as it meets the cool stone, filling the bath with gentle warmth and citrus mist. The adult hedgehogs sigh in contentment. One leans back against the edge with a satisfied shiver. The other gently guides the babies into the water with a paw. The babies splash the water with their feet. One spins in slow circles. Another paddles towards a floating slice of orange like it's a treasure. The smallest rests on its back, paws curled, eyes half closed in absolute delight. The fox pinches off some eucalyptus leaves and places them, one at a time, into the basin, his movements precise and reverent. You set the bucket aside. It's empty now, and the fox looks up at you. Meeting your eyes, he gives you a single, solemn nod. You've done your part. With the warmth of your completed task still resting in your hands, you find your way back towards the center of the caldarium. A grand staircase swirls above you, wide and polished, worn smooth by countless paws, hooves, and hands. You ascend, slippers padding against the stone steps. Along the way, you pass a slender crane standing in a reflecting pool shaped like a crescent moon and tiled in azure. She stands ankle deep in the steaming water, motionless except for the slow turn of her head as she gazes down at the main floor. Her robe is folded neatly beside the pool, pressed and weighted with a small stone. You reach the 3rd tier. Just ahead is an arched doorway made of pressed copper, warm mist drifting through in pale tendrils. You step through, your skin prickling in the cold night air. Outside, a series of broadly planked balcony tubs stretches out beneath the stars, fed by a system of channels guiding a cascade of milky streams and waterfalls. Snow falls all around you, melting on your cheeks. The steam radiating off the water shines pale pink in the setting moonlight. You slip out of your robe and fold it carefully, handing it to a nearby attendant who bows without a word. Then, inch by inch, you sink into the water. Heat swallows your body. The water is hot enough to still your thoughts, which now pass through you like an unattended train, like the Nocturne slipping through the scarlet mountains. The moment your shoulders submerge, your muscles melt like butter on a pan. Your breath slows and deepens. The stars above blink in and out behind the drifting cities of clouds, and the snow keeps falling forever. The world is stillness in eternal motion. After a few moments of calm reflections, you hear a noise above. 3 snow monkeys drop from the awning, slipping elegantly into the water beside you, causing only the faintest of ripples. Their fur is thick and damp with snow, their faces ruddy from the cold. They relax instantly, shoulders dropping, fingers spreading wide in warmth. Then one of the monkeys lifts a hand, and with a series of small practiced gestures summons a fox who arrives within moments. He is carrying a shallow lacquered tray piled with bundles of herbs, rosemary, lemon balm, sage, chamomile, and a few you don't recognize. The monkeys inspect the tray with exaggerated seriousness. They sniff, poke, and point at the choices laid before them. They wave their arms and pat their chests of white fur, their expressions ranging from deeply concerned to dramatically engaged. Unable to agree, they turn to you. One monkey gestures towards the tray, then presses a finger to your chest. He wants your opinion. You lean forward, eyes scanning the herbs, and point to the chamomile. The fox nods and delicately lifts the bundle. He crumbles it over the surface of the water, and the rich yellow petals scatter like seeds across the steaming plain of water. The scent rises immediately, soft, floral, and familiar. It smells just like tea you had earlier, back in the Moonrise Diner, only richer, more full, with deep earth undertones. The monkeys sigh in unison, then relax back into the water. One leans on the other's shoulder. A small baby monkey, nearly hidden in her mother's fur, peeks out and climbs up to perch atop her mother's head, safe and still. You all bathe in silence, the warmth of the water soaking into your souls. Snowflakes melt on your face as you gaze up at the night sky. It is just after moonset. The stars sprinkle across your vision like salt on black velvet. The oldest monkey points at the sky and makes a noise. One star, then another, then 3 more. The baby watches, mimicking the gestures with her tiny paws. You point up as well and join them in the counting of stars. They look so close, you'd swear you can touch them. The elder monkey continues to point skyward, slow and deliberate. Her finger traces patterns through the falling snow, drawing invisible lines between the points of light. The baby monkey follows each gesture with wide eyes. One star connects to another. The elder gestures in a circle. You recognize the constellation she draws, the tea kettle, 6 bright stars shaped like a pouring pot. Then the elder points to the sleeping moth, its wings folded, sleeping just above the tree line. You point to a cluster of dim stars nestled between the 2 constellations, tracing the constellation called the Northern Nest. Sailors still use this constellation to guide their ships. The monkeys see your gesture and make a symbol with their hands that you don't understand. Perhaps a name? The baby curls back up into her mother's fur, head resting against her neck. You lean back just a little further, the hot water wrapping you like a womb, rocking you gently. And somewhere between one breath and the next, you lose track of how many stars you've counted. But it doesn't matter. These things are more than their sum. The snow still falls, but it's finer now, almost too delicate to see. Beside you, the snow monkeys have grown still. One of them leans back against the curved edge of the tub, his arms resting in the water. Another has tucked himself into the crook of her companion's side, eyes glazed, rooming him idly with one hand. The baby monkey has closed her eyes. Her breathing is slow and even. She twitches now and then, dream-filled movements rippling through her tail. No one speaks. You rise, the sound of your movement barely more than a thought. Water slips off your skin in lazy sheets, steaming as it meets the cool air. A fox attendant approaches and hands you a towel. Your pajamas and robe are draped over his other arm. You dry off and then wrap the warm linen around your shoulders again. Your pajamas slip on with the soft sound of steam catching silk. Your pajamas feel familiar against your skin, and you step into your slippers and give one last glance back towards the tub. The snow monkeys are tranquil, and you wish you could stay, but you turn away. It's time to walk home. The air inside the bathhouse is warmer now, thicker with steam and the solemn weight of rest. You retrace your steps through the maze of the pools and the firefly lanterns, but also everything feels changed, softer, dimmer, settled. The noise has faded to a low murmur. Most of the animals are already asleep. You pass by a red panda dozing in a tiled tub, chin balanced on the rim. Somewhere behind a paper screen, something snores, a quiet, purring rhythm that rises and falls with the hiss of the pipes. The foxes whisper to one another as they work, folding linens, sweeping water from walkways with wide bamboo brooms. They preoccupy themselves with the smallest of details, tucking the whole building in for the night. You glide through the grand archway and into the entry hall, where the air is cooler and the steam thinner. Your footsteps echo in solitude. Somewhere, far away, a bell rings faintly. A door opens. A slipper scuffs across stone. You take one more breath. You walk back through the atrium, bundling yourself tightly in your wool robe. You step outside. The air is sharp. You walk back through the atrium, bundling yourself tightly in your wool robe. You step outside. The air is sharp, pinching at your nose and cheeks. Back out, back towards the line of trees, back towards the town. At the edge of the forest, the fox and the fez is waiting for you, your old friend. His robe hangs damp at the hem, and the bell on his hat is missing. He holds out his paws to you, offering that single golden bell, no bigger than a walnut. He presents it to you with both hands. His expression is unreadable, somewhere between thanks and farewell, though no words are spoken. You accept it. He bows once deeply. You reciprocate, and by the time you lift your eyes again, he's already gone. Back to the bathhouse, back to his home. You slip the bell into the pocket of your robe, and then you turn back to the wood, continue your walk beneath the trees. The path is clearer now than before. No fox leads you this time, but the golden bells guide you like a constellation. They chime faintly as you pass, light as falling snow. Find your way back to the sleeping town. You pass the bakery. Its windows are dark now, but the scent of sugar still hangs faintly in the air. You pass the library. Its front lamp extinguished, rows and rows of sleeping books within. The steamed bun cart is gone. The ground is swept smooth as if it was never there at all. The town itself seems to have curled in on itself, like a cat settling into a blanket. And then, through the falling snow, the train station appears again. The Nocturne waits, a cotton haze puffing from its polished brass pipes, windows glowing deep and red, the scent of clove and cedar already reaching for you. The conductor stands at the open doorway, as he always does. He nods once as you step aboard and checks your name off a list. You walk the softly lit corridor, the green carpet, whispering. You walk the softly lit corridor, the green carpet whispering under your feet. Every sleeper door is closed. Every light is low. The train will be moving soon. You reach your compartment and step inside. The air is warm. Blood returns to your cheeks. Your lamp glows on your writing desk. Your bed is just as you left it, covers folded back. Before climbing into bed, you reach into your pocket. The golden bell is still there. You hang it from the edge of your writing desk lamp where it catches the light. You slip beneath the covers. The train hums below, gentle and steady, and begins to move. You turn onto your side, pulling the blanket to your chin, your body rippling with the memory of steam and stars and chamomile. You think of the fox, the hedgehogs, the baby monkey curled in sleep, the sound of bells in the snow. You don't need to hold the memories too tightly. They'll be there when you wake. For now, you let it all drift away and fall deeply into sleep. When you wake up, you will be in a new and beautiful dream.